Man, oh man, oh man, welcome back to another episode of Drake's Corner. Here we are again. It is October 19th. It is a Tuesday. We have the NBA season openers tonight with the Nets, Bucks, and Warriors, Lakers. We have some TMZ-esque drama that happened since my last episode. We'll get into that here in a second. We had some good football over the weekend, NFL, college, some good games that happened. I'm a little sick, if you can't tell by my voice. I picked up a cold. It's the weather's changing here in the Midwest. Yeah, and it's kicking my allergies into headgear. And yeah, if you can't tell, I got the setup a little different. I got the laptop off to the left instead of in the middle. It's a little easier for me. And I got a glass of water. I gotta stay hydrated. All right, little ASMR there. Sorry. Um, you know, let's hop right into it. Like I said, some TMZ esque drama since the last episode. John Gruden got he resigned immediately after I filmed my last episode, and I was like, man, I this couldn't have been worse timing for me to drop my episode. But we can pick on up on it right now. I know I'm a little late to the party, but I'd like to give my input. As much as I'd like to say how bad of a person he is, which I don't disagree with at all. I just think, instead of beating a dead horse, I'd rather talk about, how the Raiders can respond to this as, they started off as a contending team in the AFC. They started off 3-0. Derek Carr was firing it from all cylinders, throwing over 400 yards a game in the first 3 games. Decent amount of touchdowns. They look good. They look like a contending team in the AFC. And then in classic Raiders fashion, they drop off two games. It seems to be that the Raiders always start the season hot, and then they just curl up into mediocrity. Um, sorry. Darren Waller looks good. Derek Carr looked good. The defense looked passionate. Now, how will they respond to their leader of 2 years being resigning, being let go? Uh, I saw a passionate game against the Broncos from them, and it seems to be they played with passion and fire rather than curling up into a ball. To touch up on John Gruden though, what he said in those emails was terrible and absolutely unexcusable. It happened during the course of 7 years. We had that first little hint 10 years ago where he made that horribly racist comment towards one of I forget what his title is, but it was like an NFL staff member. And, it was one thing 11 years ago. It was said in 2010. So at a point, I was like, everybody makes mistakes. It's one thing. Let's not hang our hats on somebody for something they said over 10 years ago. But then we later found out he said anti-gay remarks. He continued saying racist things, called Roger Goodell the F-bomb. Not, you know which one I'm talking about. Yeah, so him being fired or resigning was the ultimate right. I mean, it's inevitable there at that point after 7 years of ongoing stuff like this. But to a point, I don't think that if there's one deal, if somebody said something 15 years ago, as you're a celebrity, it should not. You can't be canceled over one thing. I've struggled to understand how people can get canceled from like stuff in the past. Like, I'm talking years in the past. If it was recent, like a month or a week ago, that kind of adds up to who you are today. But I don't think that it should define your character if it's within just one mistake. One mistake doesn't make up a person, and I think we can all agree as people that that's not how life should be. That's not how we should be treated. um who are we to judge? That's my personal opinion. I'm not speaking for anybody else. um but yeah, with mistakes happening, John Gruden is not in that case. He continued to be hateful towards groups of people over a 7-year course. And he was rightfully going to be fired. He resigned before it could happen, and his apology letter was kind of pitiful because he didn't apologize for anything. He basically played the victim card. If we're being real, I didn't want to hurt anybody, John. And at this point, his legacy's tarnished. He had a legacy before this. He was a Super Bowl winning coach. Had a quarterback camp. He had a show on ESPN, prospecting many different quarterbacks. And now it's all you got to think about your character here and who you are, John. You were one of the most looked up to coaches in all the land, and now it's gone, and rightfully so. It should be. That's my take on that. I don't want to say much more on it. I'm late to the party already. So, more TMZ drama. Kyrie Irving. As much as I want to keep the politics out of sports, Kyrie Irving is not currently vaccinated. Um, this is leaving him missing more than half the games of the season right now. The first thing I would like to say immediately about this whole situation is that nobody should say that Kyrie Irving is in any manner a selfish man. Kyrie has given back to his community as much as any professional athlete or celebrity can. Um, he has inspired a lot of the youth with how he plays the game, how he has his own shoe line. He provides for his community. He's a great ambassador of the Muslim community. Kyrie Irving is one of the most unselfish athletes I've ever, witnessed in my life. His choice is his choice to get vaccinated or to not get vaccinated. And I think as hard as it is as a Nets teammate, my view on it is being a teammate is more than on the court play. If you're going to be a teammate, you are going to act like a standing brother to that man. That's how sports was for me growing up, playing with teammates. These are my brothers. You hold, I mean, but also being a teammate, you have to hold them accountable. They obviously need him on this Nets team. And, but if it's his choice, if it's against his religion, if it goes against what he believes, that's his choice. And Nets teammates are going to have to understand that. His fans are going to have to understand that. And it doesn't define like what I was talking about earlier, character. This doesn't define character. It's just personal choice. Um, yeah, so we'll see how this plays out. I know the whole issue with him missing games is um, involved with the state of New York rather than the NBA. Um, but we'll see how it plays out. Maybe he gets vaccinated. Maybe um, he can play in most of the playoff games. Who knows? We obviously know that the Nets are a good team, and they can hang without Kyrie. They have Durant and Harden, two of the best facilitators in basketball. So, but yeah, it's been a big deal on CNN. They like to use Kyrie, or like any media outlet or news outlet has been using Kyrie Irving's name as kind of like their stance on the vaccine. Like, oh, this player is not getting the vaccine. Look at this patriot, or he's not getting the vaccine. Look how selfish he is. This should not be you know, a image for your political agenda. Um, as a news outlet. Like anybody using that is they don't know what Kyrie thinks with politics. They don't know his personal stances, so they can't use him to their agenda. I think that's disgusting and it ruins true journalism. Yeah, and all in all, I just like to keep the politics out of sports. It's absolutely disgusting. Um, yeah, so those are the e news esque um, segments of my show tape here today. To jump into something lighter, college football. Over Saturday, we had a few good. We had some surprises. We had a few good games. First point, I just have a few takes on the week for college football. Georgia is obviously the undisputed number one team. I think we knew that from most week 3 after they shut out Arkansas. Um, they their defense looks like a professional defense. I think most of those guys will probably a lot of their elite talent will be NFL players. I see 4 to 5 defensive players that could go first round on that Georgia squad, including 3 of the linemen. Um, yeah, they are the number one team in the nation, and they will be number one in the college football playoffs. Um, Iowa turns out to be a fluke. They jumped up to number 2 over last week's AP poll, and they lost handedly to Purdue. They only scored 7 points. And Iowa, they've had years and years of fighting to be an elite squad. They've kind of been on the pinnacle of the Big Ten with Ohio State and Michigan. But over the last few years, we've seen more elite talent from them. Their tight end university, they got a lot of good tight ends. George Kittle, TJ Hawkinson, alumni of Iowa. They like that big, bulky style of football, and it's been paying off for them. They just haven't, fought for a spot in the college football playoffs. And, the most, I think this year probably would have been that year, but turned out to be a fluke. And it, as a Nebraska fan, it kind of makes me happy, but at the same time, I kind of feel bad for them because they've kind of been building a squad. Like, being totally honest, they've been building, true football players, a good program, a good style of football. And I thought this year they were gonna, contend for a championship. And with a loss like that, chances are over. And that kind of like pushes my opinion for an 8-team college football bracket instead of 4, because I don't think one loss like this should hinder their chances of fighting for a championship. We also learned that Cincinnati has turned into a real deal football team. They are sitting at number 2 on this week's AP poll. It's good to see teams like Cincinnati, who've kind of been, mediocre at sports. They've been okay at basketball or college basketball. But it's good to see something new like them in the top 2. That's insane. Yeah, it's definitely breaking the 4 pillars, like I stated last week, of college football. Those super teams per se, Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, Georgia, where all the top recruits go. It's good to see something new with Cincinnati. They have a decent amount of seniors on their squad. And, it's good to see like an organization built from the ground up, kind of like Iowa, but they're actually the real deal. Also, Caleb Williams, true starting quarterback for Oklahoma, as we saw. And as I'd like to remind everybody again how right I was on Spencer Rattler being absolutely terrible and about to enter the transfer portal. That's another prediction that I think is going to happen. He made Oklahoma look like an elite, like offensive powerhouse. Wasn't a close game at all against TCU. And I don't see Rattler playing the rest of the year. And I see him entering the transfer portal. So, yeah, good to be a Sooner. It's a good time to be a Sooner fan. Caleb Williams is your guys' go-to, and he looks real solid. So yeah, those are my takes right now for college football. It's exciting. I really want an 8-team college football playoff bracket. That'd be sick. It'd be decent to see like teams like Iowa, who had a loss, be able to bounce back to try and fight for another chance, because one loss in college football kind of just puts you down to the out of the college football playoff picture, and it sucks. That's it for college football. Let's jump into our highlight of the week, brought to you by Julio Jones on Monday Night Football.
Bit of a low snap. Tannehill. Flag is out. Tannehill will throw down the field. Off the helmet, Julio Jones catches it. And let's see, they're going to say he was out of bounds. Off the helmet of Micah Hyde. And there's a lot to unpack there for these officials with these great bloodlines. Here.
Even Julio's got a smile on his face after that one. He's like, I caught a lot of passes in my day, but I don't think I've ever caught one like that. It looked like his feet were down.
Yeah, should get the ball at that spot regardless, but let's see. They are taking their time tonight so far.
The ruling on the field is a completed catch at the 29-yard line. There are 2 fouls against the defense on the play. Offside, number 98, that penalty's declined. Pass interference, number 23, that penalty's declined. First down, Tennessee.
Even better, we get a great highlight out of it with a catch by Julio Jones.
That's his great concentration and not giving up on the play. Micah Hyde has his back turned to the ball, can't really continue to shadow and stay in phase with Julio. And these are the kind of effort plays they're going to need to make. Look at him just touch the left toe. Yeah, Julio, go ahead and smile.
That was an insane catch. I could not believe he got both feet in bound. Julio's top 5 in talent. I think that's inevitable. Some people might disagree, but he's just a physical specimen, and that game was absolutely insane. We'll get into that game a little bit more later. As for now, the NBA regular season is kicking off here tonight. I got some award predictions. Yes, I got MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, Most Improved Player, and Sixth Man of the Year predictions right here. For the regular season, my MVP prediction is Luka Doncic. I think, Luka Doncic is entering his prime. I think this upcoming year and the 3, 4, 5 years after that will be considered his prime. I think the last 3 years he's had were his developmental years, and he will be this will be his prime year. I think his time is due, and this is his year for the regular season. Now, if they pick up another good scoring piece, this team will be an elite talent in the Western Conference. Luka Doncic, I could see him averaging, I could see him close to averaging a triple-double, a 30-point triple-double this season. I think he'll be a lot better scorer. I think he's figuring out, NBA teams and how they're guarding him. And, teams could think they're figuring out Doncic, but I know he has a lot more tools in his book. He's figuring out Carlisle's scheme pretty well. He's getting a hang of it. I see a lot of James Harden and Luka Doncic, like prime Harden. They kind of run him at the point guard, work ISO ball up top, and then kick out if it doesn't work, basically. And they're going to be forced to double team him like they were Harden when he won MVP. I see a huge year for Luka Doncic. If they pick up another piece, I could see a big trade happening with Porzingis, middle of the season, kind of. But yeah, Luka Doncic, I think he's entering his prime this upcoming year, and he's my top pick for MVP. Next, probably down is Giannis. I think the Mavericks might be a 4th or 5th seed here in the West. But I think Luka will have like a triple-double-esque season, and that'll push him to the MVP title. With these predictions, I think I could be completely right, or I could just be god-awful. I think I could get every one of these wrong if I really tried to, which I might, which is why it's fun. I wish I could put money down on it, but I'm not going to. I'm not a gambler. No, I won't do it. Defensive Player of the Year, I got Giannis. Giannis won it 2 years ago. He made a defensive. He was just on a defensive rampage during the playoffs. We had seen nobody shut down the Suns scheme in the finals after 2 games when they completely swept them. They completely demolished them defensively, and it was mainly led by Giannis. It was also because of the average wingspan on the size on the Bucks, front and back court. They have complete giants on their squad like Bobby Portis, Tucker, Lopez, Giannis. Drew Holiday is a defensive specimen too. But I think Giannis is going to have an insane statistics season with defensive stats. I think he'll have as much blocks as a center would, and I think he'll have amount of steals as someone like Drew Holiday would have. I think he can push for Defensive Player of the Year this year, and that's who I'm going to go with. I could see Gobert being second. Obviously, that man is a machine. But I think Giannis will put up a statistical barrage of defensive stats. My Rookie of the Year goes to Jalen Green. He has the NBA figured out. He is a true scorer. He played in the G League, already has the 3-point line figured out, the whole shooting deal. He knows how to score a one-on-one. We saw it in the G League against basically scrubs. Um, the kid gets it. We saw it in the summer league. He and Cade Cunningham both get it. Those are the two guys who get it out of that rookie class right away. But I think Jalen Green will average 20 plus points in his first year. Um, he's yeah, he seems just like a born to score guy. He knows how to score, and I think this Houston can build around him with facilitators. They'll be a good up and coming squad here in the next give it 4 to 5 years before they're back in the playoffs. Um, yeah, Jalen Green is my pick for rookie of the year. I think he'll be a nasty scorer. And yeah, if they find the right pieces around him, this could be a deadly squad. And yeah, like I said, 4 to 5 years. Most improved player, I got Jordan Poole. Warriors guard. He showed signs of being a great one-on-one scorer last year. We saw some highlights over the preseason and summer league of Jordan Poole. He seems to be a more polished version of himself than last year. Last year, he was kind of more of a reserved bench role. This year, I think he'll come off as their sixth man. I think he'll put up around 15 or 16 points. I think he'll be like a Jordan Clarkson type esque player. Great shooter, knows how to score inside. He'll be a great off the bench player for the Warriors. And add the scoring pouch to the bench for the Warriors. And the Warriors with Klay Thompson back, they're gonna have a lot of talent. And yeah, this guy's gonna be a big piece on their bench. Sixth man of the year, I got Jordan Clarkson. He's gonna run it back as sixth man of the year. I'm sorry. He is a true starting lineup player, but on the Jazz with their guard play, he is off the bench. And um, you know, Clarkson knows how to score. He's got a shot. He's averaging 19 to 20 points a game off the bench. And that scoring talent doesn't go away. He knows how to pass. He's a point guard, but he knows how to play like a shooting guard. And yeah, he ran away with that sixth man of the year award last year, and I think he'll do it again. Yeah, NBA is back. I'm excited. We're gonna do something with team rankings here in an upcoming episode, which I'm very excited for. But those are my regular season predictions. Obviously, a lot of things will change around playoff time and whatnot. But yeah, with this list, I could be completely right or completely wrong. I think that's why it's super fun to do. We started off the show last week with our NFL power rankings. It's the finale this week. What do you know? We got some changes on this list. I'm gonna just jump right into it. Number 10 is the Cincinnati Bengals. I see them making strong stances against decent teams. They had a strong stance against Green Bay. They destroyed the Lions. They'll beat most mediocre teams. They need a better defense, that's for sure. They beat the Vikings. They they know how to play offense. They know how to throw and run the ball, and that's about it. This number 10 spot here will change every single week because I think the teams ranked from 10 to 20 are most of them are evenly matched, and it could go either way. Um, but right now, I see promise with their offense. I think they can make a run at a wild card spot in the AFC if their offense keeps rolling. They'll beat most of those mediocre teams like in the 10 to 20 range, like I said, and they need a better defense. But they're sitting at number 10, so maybe they'll go on a run here, move up the list. You never know. Hold on, I need a. Sorry. This cold, man. I'll tell you what. I don't get sick often. I know I'm pretty sick, but I don't get sick. Anywho, the Chargers are sitting at number 9 for me. Shit show performance against the Ravens. They were sitting at number 4 for me last week. They're still a top 10 team. I'm not going to deny it. Even though they lost pretty bad to the Ravens, there's no denying the talent they have with Justin Herbert, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler, Keenan Allen. Those type of guys, they are all they have it figured out. It's just consistency. We know Herbert's the real deal. Their defense needs to step up big time, though. That was a disgusting performance against the Ravens. They just didn't look ready. It kind of reminds me of the Packers week 1 against the Saints, and now the Packers are 5-0 in their last 5 games. But we'll see how they respond next week. I'm sorry, but when you're a top 5 team, you have to rightfully keep that spot. And they dropped 5 spots on my list for that reason. I'm sorry. Number 8, I got the Titans. Huge win against Buffalo. We saw it. Derrick Henry is leagued above every other running back. 789 yards rushing this year. He is over 100 yards over the next running back on the list, not the number 1 spot on the rushing yards list. With the Titans, their defense could be better against good offenses like Buffalo. They make big plays. They had a few forced turnovers, but their offense looks elite. They are absolutely rolling with the run game. They have elite receiving core. Tannehill could be playing a little better, but they get the job done. They're scoring over 30 points. But, the game came down to a last-second sneak, and the defense came up big. So they move up 2 spots. Most of the time, if they beat the number 1 team in the league, you move up more. But it really could have went either way. So I think I'm being generous with giving them 2 spots up. They're number 8 on my list. It's crazy how they go from losing to the Jets to being who I consider the number 1 team in the league. That's huge. That's a huge turnaround. And if they can keep rolling, they'll be a playoff contender in the AFC. Number 7, I got Green Bay. I don't like to talk about it, but they had a big win against my Bears. Aaron Rodgers looks into the crowd. He says, "I own you." He told my fellow Chicagoans that he owns us. And as prideful as I am, he does own us right now. They put on a great offensive showcase. Rodgers is making a statement. They've won 5 straight games. Real balanced football. Their defense it was the Bears offense, but they handled us. Devontae Adams, still the number 1 receiver in football, no doubt about it. Aaron Jones, still top 10 running back in the league. They're moving up on my list. They were number 10 to start, and they've been only moving up ever since. That's as much as I'm going to say about Green Bay, because I'm getting sick to my stomach talking about them. Number 6, I got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're still sitting at number 6. Because they need to handle teams like the Eagles. Great offense. Leonard Fournette went nuts. Godwin, Mike Evans, they all did their. Antonio Brown he was the main reason. Antonio Brown went nuts. But their defense could use a tad bit more work. With teams against the Eagles, when you're in that top 5 range, for me, you have to dismantle teams like the Eagles. They almost came back, and if it wasn't for a dumb personal foul call at the end, I think the Eagles might have scored, because they were rolling. Jalen Hurts and crew were rolling. And on paper, the Eagles' receiving core is below average. And if you're the Buccaneers, you need to take advantage of that and put it on a defensive show. We know they have defensive talent. They just have to put it into place. They're still going to sit at number 6 here, because they didn't handle the Eagles. They won by less than a touchdown. So, yeah, I think the Bucs' talent is obviously top 3. But, once playoff time comes around, we know Brady, blah, 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 all that stuff. But right now, they're sitting at number 6. Number 5, Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson is number 1 in my MVP race. That's all I really need to say right now with them. Lamar Jackson is playing absolutely out of his mind. Their receiving core is getting comfortable. They have weapons. It's looking like they're developing weapons. Mark Andrews, Hollywood Brown, Sammy Watkins. They are putting on an offensive showcase, and their defense made a huge statement against the Chargers. They look poised. I think they're a top 2 team in the AFC. They're completely rolling. I think that thriller game against the Colts really inspired them, or pushed them to be like, oh, we can make a run in the AFC. But Baltimore's sitting at number 5 for me. Number 4, I got the Rams. They destroyed the Giants. They move up a spot on my list from last week. Even with a few mistakes, they destroyed the Giants. Stafford is getting very comfortable with the offense. They have elite secondary, elite D-line, great linebacking core. Henderson's getting comfortable. They have a good run-pass balance. They're a very dangerous team if they stay comfortable and roll like they've been. They bounced back great against after that loss to the Cardinals, and they're putting on a clinic right now. So yeah, they're a top 4 team. Sorry. Number 3, I have the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, they lost against the Titans. Like I said though, it really could have been either way. They dropped 2 spots. Obviously, they needed a destructive victory if they wanted to stay top 2. But yeah, I still think they're the best team in the AFC. Their defense is very good. They need consistency against elite offenses within their defense, like against offenses like Tennessee. Sorry, that was a mumble jumble of words, but it made sense. I still think Josh Allen is a top 3 quarterback right now. Yeah, their offense looks great. Their defense is very good, but it just needs a little consistency. Like I said, that game could have gone either way. It was a heated division rivalry, and just went the Titans' way. So yeah, I still think Buffalo. They're not going to lose many games at all. Even if they play Tennessee again, I bet they beat Tennessee. But yeah, they dropped 2 spots, close loss, but we know the talent on that squad. Number 2, Dallas Cowboys. My goodness. Um, their offense is still menacing teams. They had a close game with the Patriots. And if I may retract a statement I made last week about the Patriots being bad, I actually think the Patriots are good. It's Bill Belichick. I really think any scheme with Bill Belichick, the Patriots will be good. It's just the talent they have. They'll make games close against elite teams, but they won't close out. And Dallas, their offense menaced them and they got past the trap game. I think any game against the Patriots for an elite team will be considered a trap game. Defensively, Trayvon Diggs is proving he's a machine. Had almost a game-closing pick 6. He has 7 interceptions in 6 games. Yeah, that kid's a behemoth, but interceptions don't tell the whole story with cornerbacks, I know, but that stat is absolutely insane. Dak Prescott's doing his thing. He's absolutely just blistering defenses. CD Lamb's moving up to an elite level of a receiver. Yeah, Dallas, number 2. I really think they can make a Super Bowl run. But if they're going to make a Super Bowl run, they have to get past the number 1 Arizona Cardinals, who are sitting at 6-0, the only undefeated team left on the list. Man, yeah, they're taking the crown again. I had them number 1 on episode 2, I believe. They destroyed a good Cleveland offense. They had injuries. I know. But still, to dismantle a Cleveland Browns team that we know who's on their offense. Yeah, they're dealing with injuries, but Arizona embarrassed their defense. Their offense, I mean, they have the best receiving core in the entire league, and they just added Zach Ertz. Kyler Murray is a top 3 quarterback in the league and is probably second best scrambler behind Lamar Jackson. They have so many options on the field. It's ridiculous. And their run game getting kind of comfortable with Chase Edmonds, Connor. You got even Kyler Murray to run it a little bit. Their defensive line is elite with Watt and Chandler Jones. Their secondary could use a little work, I'd say, but right now they're 6-0. So yeah, they're the most dangerous team in the league. I don't, it can change at any time, but they're undefeated, so they're holding the crown right now. Yeah, that concludes my NFL power rankings. It's my favorite. That's probably my favorite segment to do. I'm not gonna lie, it's so fun. Anyway, that's gonna conclude your episode of Drake's Corner. Thanks for bearing with me with my illness. Yeah, I'm sorry if I sound a little raspy, if I sound under the weather. It's that Midwest life. I don't know what else to say. But anyway, thanks for coming. Be here every Wednesday. You know where to find me. All right. Have a good one, guys. I'll see you next Monday. Peace.